Right, good afternoon everybody. Welcome to the March Hub agenda. So we will start off. So item 1, apologies for absence, please, Mr. White.
Thank you, Leader. Good afternoon, members. We've got an apology from Councillor Jury for this meeting. Thank you very much.
Right, item 2, members, declarations of interest. Everybody knows the rules. Does anybody have any declarations now? No, if they turn up in the meeting, please declare at the appropriate moment. Thank you. Item 3, items requiring urgent attention. I have one item, which will be a leisure update, which contains exempt information, which will be taken at the end of the meeting after at agenda item 15 of this meeting. Thank you. Confirmations of the minutes. They're on pages 1 to 8 of your agenda. So page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is everybody happy with those? I'm happy to propose them. Thank you, Councillor Moody. All those in favour? Thank you very much indeed.
That's carried for the minutes. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you very much. Public questions, Mr. White?
We have none for today's meeting. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you. So item 6 is the Hub Forward Plan, which is on page 9 to 14 of your agendas. So we've got lots of paperwork here for today. I don't think there's anything on there that's not coming up today, is there, Mr. White?
No, that's correct,
No.
Leader. Thank you.
Right. So the 28th of April, is everybody okay with what is... Oh, that's a nice short agenda. I like that one. Oh, it's not. Okay. No, I've just seen why it possibly isn't. Yes, is everybody okay with their bits for the 28th of April? And I'm sure that agenda will grow. And then we've got some items for the 9th of June already on there. And there's some biggies on there again as well. Right, Councillor Mott, please.
Just to confirm, Leader, that the item under the World Heritage Site Management Plan is likely to be deferred until the June meeting, if not later.
Okay, thank you very much for letting us know. That's lovely. Later. So. Does anybody else know of any amendments to any of theirs yet? No? Right, that's lovely, everyone. So we're all quite happy with that. So if we could now move to item 7 of the agenda, which is me and the Chief Exec. So the Council Delivery Plan, pages 15 to page is 44. So this is our look at the Council Delivery Plan for 26-27 going forward. We've all had input into this, and within your portfolio leads as Hub members, that you've all fed into it. Everything has been costed within it. And I desperately hope there needs to be no cutting of anybody's ideas, projects, etc. But as we know, climates are not always good and things may have to change. So the recommendation is that we adopt the plan today, at the meeting on the 24th of March, and to approve the 496,500 of funding for the plan from the revenue and capital reserves earmarked for council plan as set out in 4.1 of the report. Mr. Chief Exec, over to you.
Thank you, Leader. So we have done a comprehensive review, and I hope that the paper before you reflects the views of individual members of Hub, but also the wishes of the Hub overall. In terms of the primary areas of focus for the council. They remain broadly as they were previously, but what we have done is to take out actions which have been completed where they're no longer relevant, but also to put back in key priorities for the coming year. And I think that the plan we have before us now will probably largely stay the same through the next couple of years, but I would expect us to continue to review and update the actions within it as we go. There will be a comprehensive report on progress against the actions in the plan, which will be coming, backward-looking review coming to the next meeting, Leader. But other than that, hopefully it is as you expect.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions, please? Everybody's happy, that is good. Yes. So then I'm happy to move the recommendations.
Happy to second.
Anybody up? Yes, I have got an additional recommendation. Sorry, I forgot that one. I put my piece, oh no, there's the piece of paper. Right, the fourth recommendation is to recommend to Council that the Chief Executive be granted delegated authority in consultation with the Leader of the Council to make minor formatting and presentational amendments to the adopted delivery plan, which hopefully means my photo's not over 2 pages, as it is at the moment. That says a lot about me, doesn't it? Right, so does anybody wish for any debate? The only thing I will say is I really hope we can deliver on these projects. We're all really keen to do so within our varying portfolios, and we want to deliver on this for the community of West Devon. And we have all worked really hard collectively to make this work, to have delivered as much as we have so far over the last couple of years. And as we enter our third year, we are our third, yes, as our third year, that, you know, this is exciting to be able to do this. So I'm really pleased and just hope that everything can go accordingly. Councillor Mott, please.
Thank you, Leader. Yeah, just really to reiterate what you've just said, but also I hope that the activities and the projects in the plan also reflect our ongoing commitment to the residents in light of all the potential changes with local government reorganisation, and that we are very much continuing to work hard for the borough.
Yeah, thank you, Leader. I echo both your comments, and yeah, I'm very pleased that the council was able to continue investing in the council plan, and that the council plan invest in our communities and businesses. So well done to everyone who's had input to this plan, and now it's all about the delivery. Thank you.
And Treasury management helps us a lot. Good old Treasury management. Right, all those in favour, please.
That is unanimous for the 4 recommendations. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, members. We move to item 8, Crisis and Resilience Fund and other cost of living support. Councillor Elliott, please.
Thank you very much, Leader. So I'm very pleased to be able to introduce this paper, because this is one of the areas of Council's work where we're really trying to support people across the borough who are most vulnerable in terms of their finances. I think people are aware that there's a change being made from central government in terms of the funding that we get for this area of work, so that we now have this crisis and resilience fund. But when I say we now have, we don't quite now have, because it's being delivered mainly through the top tier of government, and it's not absolutely clear to us yet at borough and district level how much we will get and what the exact sort of rules and regulations are around it. So this is quite a detailed paper that focuses on a number of different strands. So the most clear strand is the new Crisis and Resilience Fund housing payments, which are replacing the discretionary housing payments. And there's a request for Hub to look at the policy and affirm that we're happy with this policy. Secondly, the Exceptional Hardship Fund policy, it was time to have another look at that, so I'm hoping members have looked at that. And thirdly, the Housing Benefit War Pensions Disregard policy, which is very much in line with previous practice where we've said that we don't want to penalise veterans by taking account of the pension that is specifically associated with them being veterans. So there's nothing new here, it's just affirming our commitment to these different groups. But as I've said, at the moment, we're not completely clear how money will trickle down from the county to districts and borough. So the fourth recommendation here is for us to delegate authority to the head of Revenues and Benefits, Mrs. Hotchkiss, to make amendments to the Crisis and Resilience Fund housing payments policy as and when further guidance is published. And I just want to note to other members that we are working very closely with key partners like Citizens Advice to work out how we can best work together to support families and households that are in most financial jeopardy. So I hope the paper is fairly self-explanatory. I'd like to turn to Mrs. Hotchkiss to see if there's anything that she wants to highlight, because it is quite a detailed paper and I might not have done it justice. So over to Mrs. Hotchkiss, and then I'm sure between us we can answer any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Elliott. Probably not really very much to add. It's really just sort of a holding report effectively, just reconfirming the Council's commitment to support some of our most vulnerable residents. As Councillor Elliott says, the rest of the Crisis and Resilience Fund is still an emerging situation, and as soon as we have more of that detail, we will bring forward some fresh proposals to members.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Hotchkiss. Are there any questions from members, please? No? Would you like to move the recommendations, please, Councillor Elliott?
Thank you, Leader. So I won't read them out, they're on the screen, but I'd like to formally propose these 5 recommendations.
Thank you, and I'm happy to second. Would anybody like any debate, please? I think we just need to say as a collective to thank you for your work and Mrs. Hotchkiss, but also that we are doing as much as we possibly can to help some of the people in our communities who really need that help and who are vulnerable. It's a really important role that as a council that we have the opportunity to be able to play out, that we can help people who are in need. So thank you, Councillor Elliott, for all that you do. Councillor West, please.
I'd just like to comment on the fact that we've just discussed the council plan going forward and then what our ambitions are and everything else like that. But this is the meat and bread of what we do, isn't it? This is our delivery of the services as best as we can to the positive benefit of our constituents and our community. So, we get very excited sometimes, well I do occasionally, about the plan, but this is just the bread and butter that we do every day. And so thank you to Gillian, thank you for Jane for all your work on that.
Would anyone else like to make any comment? No, if we could go for a vote then for the recommendations as laid out, please. All those in favour?
That's unanimous. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Councillor Elliott. Right, if we can move on to item 9, please, to Councillor Edmonds for the policy for the transfer of community assets on pages 75 to 80 of the agenda.
Thank you, Leader. This report sets out a clear and coordinated policy for transferring community assets to our towns and parish councils. The policy responds to the growing number of requests we've received and ensures that all councils are treated fairly, consistently, and within a structured timetable. This approach recognises that the Council is the long-term custodian of public land, and our priority must be protecting the facilities and spaces that matter most to our residents, regardless of which tier of local government ultimately owns them. The policy clarifies that only Category 3 assets, those held on behalf of the community, such as parks, open spaces and sports pitches, are eligible for transfer, and that any transfer will include the necessary legal protections to secure their community use in perpetuity. To ensure fairness, each town and parish council will have one opportunity to submit a request with a deadline of 5 p.m. on the 8th of May 2026. Requests already received can be updated, but once submitted, they cannot be changed. Transfers will be progressed in order of simplicity and compliance with the policy. To support this work, we've standardised the terms of transfer and provided additional resourcing within the land and property team. Decision-making will be delegated to the Director of Community Services, Economy and Infrastructure in consultation with the lead member for resources and performance. Overall, this policy is designed to give communities the best chance of taking ownership of the assets they value, while ensuring that we manage the process efficiently and consistently. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you very much, Councillor Edmonds. Does anybody have any questions, Councillor Edmonds? Councillor West, please.
I have mentioned this to my parish councils, and oh, that's nice, that looks good. However, they have raised the paragraph 3.3. Well, they don't know this, but they're saying, well, actually, there's a need that maybe if we were able to get that land, we could then change it for extra this or that. And I'm saying to them, I don't think that's in the nature of it. So then the question comes back, well, what is it in it for us from that point of view? So the short answer is to my question, can they change the land? And clearly the answer is no. No, from what you're indicating.
So thank you, Councillor West. That is the entire purpose of the report. These are assets held on behalf of our community. They're currently owned by us as a council. If towns and parishes wish to take them on, to retain them for the existing use in perpetuity, then they can. That is the whole point. They are not so that they can take them on and dispose of them and then convert them into cash for other purposes.
To be fair, my parish, it wasn't exactly for cash. It was about to try and alleviate some of the issues around parking and all that sort of thing. Do they put a request into the council then to do that for them?
I think it's really designed to be very simple and straightforward. So we have an enormous amount of work pressure on the assets team, doing lots and lots of work anyway. The purpose of this report is to ensure that if there are community assets falling within that category, which towns and parishes wish to take on and retain within that category, they can. All other requests will be dealt with in the normal way, but this is not about creating a pathway for towns and parishes to ask for a whole load of council land and property to be transferred, because that's not going to happen.
That was my impression, but thank you for clarification.
Does anyone else in the room have any questions?
Just a very quick question. If there are multiple, only because it didn't come up in the presentation, if there are multiple assets within these, so you've got one opportunity to make the request, does that cover multiple? Is that, I'm just thinking if it was 2 or 3 playing fields in a certain, if it was a bigger parish, would still the same would apply?
We're trying to ensure fairness in terms of process, and by allowing each town or parish to come forward with their list of proposals in one go, it does mean that there's more opportunity for everybody to have a go. Otherwise, there's a good chance we'll spend a lot of time on some places, we won't have time to spend on other places. So this is about fairness, transparency, speed, simplicity. Yes, is the answer.
Any other questions from anyone? No? Okay. Councillor Edmonds, would you like to move the recommendations, please?
Certainly, Chair. There are two recommendations on the screen. They're quite lengthy, so I won't read them, but I think they were covered broadly in my introduction. So I move those recommendations.
Thank you, Councillor Edmonds. I'm happy to second. Would anybody like any debate, please? Councillor Renders.
Just to say, I think it's a good idea. I think it's excellent that the opportunities are there for the parishes and towns to keep an eye on and maintain their own assets. So I think it's a good opportunity there because we don't know what's going to happen with LGR. At least it's an opportunity there to keep a lot of it local.
Thank you. Anyone else? No. All those in favour, please show.
That's unanimous, the two recommendations. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you very much. Councillor Renders, if you would like to present the Local Authority Housing Fund LAF 4, please, pages 81 to 86.
Thank you, Leader, and good afternoon, everyone. Well, I'm both excited and proud to present the paper you have before you. Excited because I believe it's an excellent opportunity for the council to not only reduce its temporary housing costs, but also to add further assets to our growing housing portfolio. I'm proud to be able to highlight the importance of having an excellent housing team and the work and the worth that they have to not only the council, but the people of West Devon. A special thank you to Mrs. Blake, who did this paper. She heads up our housing team and is the author of it, which not only gives you a breakdown of the costs, but also highlights how successful we've been historically with the previous versions of this. That was LAF 1, LAF 2 and LAF 3. And I would draw your particular attention to the breakdown of savings we have made on our temporary accommodation costs. Thank you.
Any questions, members, please? No? Could you put forward the recommendation?
I will read these out because I didn't mention them. So there are three recommendations on this report. One, participate in the fourth round of the Government Local Authority Housing Fund, which is the LAF 4, and purchase a further 4 properties for temporary accommodation and resettlement. 2, delegate authority to the Strategic Director of Finance to sign the Memorandum of Understanding and acceptance of £590,175 government grant funding. And 3, match fund the purchase of 4 properties through external existing borrowing for housing initiatives of up to £477,000 at an average interest rate of 5.5% over 50 years. Thank you.
I'm happy to second. Would anybody like any debate, please? I think this is another item where we can be proud of West Devon, that we've actually bid into every round of this. I know LAF 1 was a very lacklustre event for many parts of the country. They didn't really understand it. I remember speaking to many colleagues around the country and they had no idea what this really was when I was singing its praises. So as we know, there was money left over from LAF 1, but then people got into the swing of it. So we are, as I say, one of very few that will have bid on all 4 rounds. It has helped us immensely with temporary housing costs, etc. And it has also been able to house people who have come here in difficult circumstances and that we are able to help them out. So with that, is anyone else got anything? Councillor Mott, please.
Thank you, Leader. It's a brilliant scheme. I've got absolutely no problem with that. It's been a tremendous help for us to be able to help people in need, as you said. However, I would hope that going forward, as we have struggled with dispersal of properties from various organisations over the years, that we are able to safeguard these properties going forward so that that disposal doesn't happen in the same manner, please.
I would hope not, purely because they now belong to West Devon. So actually, while we have them, I think the answer is 100% they will be kept, but who knows? But I think Mrs. Blake might want to say something, please.
No, I was just going to reiterate that absolutely. Well, as long as they're ours, then 100% will not be disposed of.
I appreciate that, yeah, but with changing situations and LGR, etc., and knowing how these things evolve over time, and they do end up being...
Because the purpose is temporary accommodation and resettlement, sadly, I can't see a time where we won't need those properties for their intended purpose, so...
We just have to hope that governments and whoever follow the new housing legislations around homelessness that has come out and temporary accommodation. So, that is something we need to hope for. And just to add in for something else that you said, Councillor Mott, about dispersals, I have recently commented on a paper to government saying that actually if they concentrated more on maintenance and retrofitting, they wouldn't need to be selling off the properties. And with this drive to build is not necessarily the answer. It's looking after what you've already got, which in a lot of cases are far better constructed properties. And that's what we need to retain and stop the selling in villages and the ones that you think, oh, we can't be bothered to look after.
Thank you, Leader. I'm sure you're all well aware now of my views on this matter. Now I keep banging on about it, and yeah, thank you.
Yes, and I think actually, just on a point Mrs. Blake and I were talking about this morning, Councillor Voden, the MP for Totnes, has recently brought up in the House about the dispersal sales. And as you know, I've been bringing it up nationally for over 2 years, and it is now seriously beginning to be recognised that as much as the government want build, they need to have a policy to stop the sale. So hopefully that can be, actually put into, an act of Parliament to be able to stop this. Councillor West, please.
I would share Councillor Mott's concerns from that point of view, and I'd also have a concern in terms of with LGR coming along, we are in a situation whereby potentially as that amalgamate, there may not be a desire to hold on to these properties that we have within our portfolio. So my concern going forward is, we're talking about disposals of uneconomic, but I don't want us to be in a situation where we've got a really good portfolio to support, temporary housing, that somebody comes along and says, oh, right, we'll offload that onto the housing associations, again, at a bucket price, and we have no say in it. Now, I appreciate that it's a bit of a crystal ball situation, but it is a concern in terms of we as a community, as a council, have really put our emphasis on this and been highly successful, as we'll see later in the report coming up. It's just a worry in terms of how people will see that going forward.
Thank you for that, Councillor West. And I have duly noted it, that actually, that it is a concern that actually properties could be passed on to a housing association. But hopefully, temporary housing will always be needed. No matter what this country does, temporary housing will always be needed. And I think to sell it off would be a very unwise move.
A lot of us said that under Mrs. Thatcher, but that's another, hindsight, that's a hindsight thing.
Right, now we've had our debate and a few of us have had our little say. Does anybody else want their little word to be heard? No, we're all going to be good now. So may I see all those in favour of the recommendations, please?
That's 8 unanimous. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you very much, everyone. Right, if we could move now to item 11, which is on pages 87 to 90, and it's the insurance contract award, led by Councillor Edmonds, please.
Thank you, Leader. The Council's current insurance arrangements, originally awarded in 2018, expire on the 31st of March of this year. It's essential that appropriate insurance cover remains in place to protect the Council against the wide range of risks associated with delivering services, managing property and employing staff. The Council has appointed Gallagher Risk Management and Insurance as broker to advise on levels of cover and undertake a market assessment. The procurement is being carried out jointly with South Hams District Council and Teignbridge District Council to secure best value, although each authority will retain its own insurance arrangements and risk profile. The proposed contract will be for an initial period of 2 years to 31st of March 28, with the option to extend for a further 2 years. Due to the procurement timescales and the need to place cover in early March, delegated authority is requested to enable the Director of Strategic Finance, in consultation with the Hub Lead for Performance and Resources, to award the contract. Nationally, local authority insurance premiums are rising significantly, driven by inflation in repair costs, increased extreme weather risks, and a reduced insurance market. The Council's current insurance budget for 2025-26 is £140,000, and a provision of £50,000 has been included for the 2026-27 and 2027-28 budgets to manage anticipated increases. So I come to the report recommendation that the Hub Committee delegate authority to the Director of Strategic Finance in consultation with the Hub Lead to award a contract for the provision of insurance for the Council for an initial period of 2 years.
Thank you, Councillor Edmonds. Does anybody have any questions, please? No? Okay, thank you very much. I'm happy to second your recommendation, Councillor Edmonds. Would anybody like any debate, please? Councillor West.
Sorry, Chair, I'm very talkative today. I do apologise. I'd just like to emphasise going forward, although I may have sounded negative about LGR, there are issues, but we're moving forward. But 2.3 there, I think, emphasises what we're looking at with LGR, around the fact that we're not just talking about ourselves and South Hams, but we're also going in with Teignbridge District Council. So it's that economies of scale, which is what we hope LGR will actually bring out. So I think that's a good example there, whereby going forward in the future, there will hopefully be more savings as a result of that. So sorry, Jet, that's it.
Thank you very much. Councillor Renders, please.
Sorry. It was just an ouch, really. But I suppose it's a bit like the audit fees that we end up paying every year. They're a necessary evil, but it just seems a hell of a lot of money, doesn't it? I'd be curious to know how many claims we end up making, but even so, as I say, it's just one of those ouchy necessary evils that, you know, which I'm sure we've followed through on, but that was it. Thank you.
Councillor Dexter, please.
Sorry, so this is a question really about the actual amount of the delegation, because 2.6 says 140,000. We anticipate on a further 50. Is this resolution therefore implying an implied ceiling of 190, or is there no ceiling? Just for sake of clarity.
Mrs. Buckle will answer your question, Councillor Dexter.
It will be for the amount in totality, so I think it would be for the 190,000. And we are in the process of assessing tenders as we speak. So unfortunately, we're not able to update on actual amounts at today's meeting, because we're still going through, we've got some points of clarification that we're going back to the insurance companies on. But yes, the actual delegation is for the award of the contract, so that may be a little bit less than the 190. Similarly, it might be slightly over. It depends where the actual amount ends up. But rest assured, we will do everything through negotiation to get the best price possible. Thank you.
Does that answer your question, Councillor Dexter?
Yes, I mean, the point was obvious that is delegation as a repeating for the conclusion of the insurance contract, and these sums mentioned are as indications and not a ceiling.
Right, could we go back to debate now, please? Anyone else got any not questions, debate, please? No? Okay, may we take a vote, please? All those in favour?
That's unanimous. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you. Councillor Edmonds, back to you again for the month 10 revenue budget monitoring report for 25-26. If you'd like to present, please.
Yes, thank you, Leader. This report updates members on the Council's revenue budget position as at the end of January 26. The current forecast shows a projected underspend or surplus of £105,000 or 1.2% of the total budget. This is an improvement on the £80,000 underspend as at the end of October. This committee in January. The two areas of income ahead of target are planning income, which is 90,000 above target, and increased investment income of 420,000, reflecting interest rates remaining higher than forecast and the securing of favourable longer-term investment returns. Key cost pressures and income shortfalls include homelessness, temporary accommodation overspend of £130,000 due to sustained housing pressures and increased use of nightly paid accommodation. At the request of members, a table is included in paragraph F, setting out the cost of temporary accommodation since 2022-23. And as Councillor Renders mentioned earlier, in the previous rounds of Local Authority Housing Fund and the renovation of 20 Plymouth Road, to date, it is estimated that the Council has saved over £180,000 as a direct cost and avoided over 2,500 nights in less appropriate forms of temporary accommodation for families. Other shortfalls include waste income from recyclate sales, ICT support contracts, employment estates, and a reduced business rates pooling gain. The Council continues to take management actions to address these variances. In terms of reserves, the Council's unearmarked reserves currently stand at 1.8 million. If the forecast underspend is maintained at year end, this will increase the balance to a projected 1.925 million at the end of March 26. Earmarked reserves stood at 12 million at the end of March 25 and continue to be kept under review to ensure they remain at prudent levels. The report recommendation is that the Hub Committee notes the forecast income and expenditure variations for the 25-26 financial year and the overall projected underspend or surplus of £105,000.
Thank you, Councillor Edmonds. Questions, please? Councillor Elliott, please.
Well, thank you very much for such a clear report, and excellent to see how close we are to our budget. But given the hostilities in the Middle East that have just emerged in the last few days, I just wonder if there's any sort of comments or thoughts about how that might influence the budget for the rest of the year. I think it's really good that we've got the reserves we have. I just think it's always good to be mindful of the much broader context and to think about, I mean, clearly interest rates will be affected and that will be positive for Treasury management. But on the other side, with fuel and gas going up so much, I mean, clearly none of us know exactly what's going to happen, but I think we have to be prepared for the financial context to change quite dramatically.
Well, perhaps if I give an initial response, clearly this is a very fast-moving and concerning situation. And as I said in the introduction, it says in the report, these variances are kept under close review by the finance team, and I'm sure that will continue to be the case. It could have a wide-ranging effect on prices, fuel prices, interest rates, so it will take very close monitoring, and I'm sure that any concerns would be brought forward to members, but I'll ask Mrs. Buckle perhaps to give her view.
Thank you, Councillor Edmonds. Yes, with regards to that, I'm not aware of any significant impact at the moment. In terms of our treasury management investments, many of those are due to expire in the middle of March, because what we do is we match it to when the precepts go out at the end of March. So many of those investments are with the Debt Management Office. They mature the middle of March, because in the main, council taxpayers pay their council tax within 10 instalments. So in February and March, the council doesn't have council tax income coming in to any great extent, but we're still paying the preceptors in March, at the end of March. So that's why we always match the investments to come out around about the end of March. Our other money is with money market funds. Again, the interest rates that we're currently getting on that, we're not seeing any significant change to what we currently receive. But yes, it's certainly something we will keep an eye on. Thank you.
May I just ask a question? I thought all council tax bills now were done over 12 months. I thought we'd abolished the 10.
The 12 instalments was consultation, so it's still 10 at the moment, yeah. Which is April to January.
Thank you for that. Any other questions, please, from members? Councillor Moody, did you have a question?
No, thank you, Chair. I was just going to ask the similar question, that our overhead costs are likely to vary and not in the best way. And also, we've got the issue that members of the public, residents, will be affected, may be financially stretched. So that could have another impact on our payment rates and all the rest of it. Thank you.
Right, any other questions? No? Did you move the recommendation, Councillor Edmonds?
It's on the screen. It's asking the Hub Committee to note the projected surplus of £105,000. Thank you.
I'm happy to second it then. Would anybody like any debate? Councillor West.
I'd just like to refer back to the LAFIS 4 report, actually, in that, first of all, thank you for producing the data. I think I was the one that requested it. It's very useful to see, so thank you for that. I mean, it is upsetting if you look at the chart where costs rise from something like £350,000 to projected £588,000 in terms of our costs for homelessness, which gives us an indication to some extent where the housing market is and the struggles that are out there for our community. Add on top some of the stuff we've just been talking about, it is a real concern. And so the hardship funds we are able to produce, again, are good from that point of view. I mean, when it comes down to it, our budget for it has gone from 298,000 in 22 up to 458,000 this year, 25-26. For me, the impact engagement in the LAFIS funding has seen a reduction in costs, though. We've gone from a peak of 251,000 down to 130,000. So for me, I think the officers and members actually need to be congratulated on the policy decisions they've made in recent years, because A, the saving of the money we've had due to the increased demand has been really good. And if it wasn't for what we put in place, with the current housing renting crisis we've got, the numbers of people in the hardship would be more difficult to manage. But secondly also, and somebody alluded to it, the type of accommodation they're getting is suitable accommodation for a family. You know, living in a hotel room as a family is tough, but we're providing them a suitable accommodation or better accommodation. So again, I would just like to comment and say thank you both to members and to officers for the hard work on this, because it's proving very, very important, both financially but also in terms of providing for the families that are in that difficult situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor West. Would anybody else like to say anything? No? Okay then, may we take a vote, please? All those in favour?
That's unanimous for noting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Edmonds, item 13. Month 10 Capital Programme Monitoring Report, pages 101 to 108, please.
Thank you, Leader. Well, this is an update on the position of the Council's capital programme as at the 31st of January 2026. Full details of the budget, the capital budget, are set out in Appendix A. All capital projects remain within their approved budgets, with the exception of one minor scheme with an overspend of less than £2,000. The most significant project within the programme, as we know, is the Oakhampton Interchange Railway Transport Hub, and the report provides a helpful summary of progress to date. As we've been hearing, under the Local Authority Housing Fund, LAF 3, the Council has secured grant funding to purchase 5 properties for resettlement, temporary accommodation. This brings the total number of properties purchased using a combination of LAF funding and the Council's own resources to 13. The Council has been invited, as we know, to apply for further funding under LAF 4, which will enable the purchase of a further 4 properties. Spend on disabled facilities grants has been lower than anticipated following the reintroduction of means testing in April 25. Adjustments have been made to eligibility criteria and staffing resource to maximise approvals before the year end. Capital investment continues to be subject to regular monitoring to ensure value for money, effective risk management and alignment with the Council plan. Further updates will be provided to members as part of the quarterly reporting cycle. The recommendation is that the Hub Committee notes the contents of the Month 10 Capital Programme Monitoring Report.
Thank you, Councillor Edmonds. Questions, please. Councillor Moody.
Thank you, Leader. Yes, I just want to ask a question on, forgive me if it's a silly question, the answer is probably it's an accounting system. It's about the glass bank modification budget. I noticed that for future years, 26, 27, there's £40,000 for modification of 31 existing glass banks. They have been removed, and I'm just wondering whether that should still be there, or, as I say, is there an accounting reason for it being there? First page.
Yeah, with regards to the banks, we do profile the expenditure, so whether it's profiled in the blue, that's the 25-26, or if it's in the white column, then we're expecting that expenditure in 26-27. Yeah, so it's just when we think the payment for the bill will come.
So the fact that the banks have been removed doesn't affect. But the thing is that if they're forecast at 40,000 for the coming year, future year, the banks aren't there anymore.
I think Mr. Money is going to add some further detail on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Buckle. I'm not really going to have any more detail because I don't know the answer, but I will take it away, Councillor Moody, and get you the answer because I do not know the answer to that question. It's a good question you raised.
Well, it just seems to me that if we're not going to spend money on them, if they're not there, why is it in the...
I would agree.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions, please, members? No? Okay. I'm happy to second the recommendation to note the contents of the report. Is there any debate, please? No? Okay. May we have a show of hands, please, to note?
That's unanimous for noting. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you very much. Sorry, if we can move now to item 14, the debt write-off report. Councillor Edmonds, please.
Thank you, Leader. This report covers debt write-offs for the period 1st of October to the 31st of December 2025 and seeks member approval for the write-off of individual debts over £5,000. Under delegated authority, the Section 151 officer has approved the write-off of individual debts under £5,000, totalling just under £39,000 during quarter 3. In addition, approval was sought from the committee to write off a further £19,577.89 relating to a council tax debt subject to an individual voluntary arrangement as detailed in the exempt appendix. The council continues to maintain strong collection rate performance. Council tax collection for 24-25 was 98.69%, placing the council in the top quartile nationally. Business rates collection was 97.81%, and that placed the council in the second quartile on a national basis. Details of debts written off in each category are set out in the report, and you will note that a sundry debt clean-up exercise has been undertaken, mainly relating to older temporary accommodation debts where recovery is no longer considered viable. 66 debts have been written off at a value of £20,397. The report recommendation asks members to note the write-offs approved under delegated authority and to approve the write-off of the single debt over £5,000 as set out in the exempt appendix. Thank you.
Thank you. Do members have any questions, please? No? I'm happy to second the recommendations as set out on the screen. Would anybody like any debate, please? No? Okay, then may I see a show of hands, please? Thank you very much.
That's unanimous. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you very much indeed. At this point of the meeting, I would now like to move the meeting into the exclusion of public and press. Thank you very much, Mr. Gardner. I'm happy to recommend.
I'll be the second.
All those in favour, please. Thank you very much.
Approval to move into part 2. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you. Right.
Happy to second.
I'd like to propose that we move back into part 1, please. Anybody to second, Councillor Renders? Thank you. All those in favour?
That's unanimous to move back into part 1. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you very much. At that point, I would like to close the meeting. Thank you very much, members, for your debate and contributions.